privée du droit à la ville. Voilà pour le constat, mais quel devrait être notre objectif, notre idéal? D'abord, permettre à chacune et à chacun un égal accès à la ville à tout moment de la journée et une identification dans ces espaces publics aussi bien que dans leur espace privé ou de proximité. Favoriser une ville donc qui ne divise pas sa population, une ville qui aménage ses espaces pour qu'une occupation n'en exclue pas une autre et accompagne les citoyens pour que chacun ait droit à la ville. 12 années après sa promotion à l'ONU, le principe d'égalité des sexes pour tous les responsables politiques, le gender mainstreaming, doit passer de l'incantation à la réelle mise en pratique. La déclinaison de cet idéal ira dans le sens d'un mieux vivre ensemble pour toute la population. À l'échelle de l'usage de la ville, on sait que la présence de femmes dans la rue est un indice de bon fonctionnement urbain, est un indice de ville apaisée, alors que l'omniprésence masculine est plutôt un signe de quartier répulsif, de quartier ségrégué. Enfin, question, que serait la ville sans la présence des femmes? Deuxièmement, comment créer ces conditions de mixité? Je pense qu'il faut aller dans le sens de les intégrer, peut-être, dans les outils réglementaires. En France, on a le PLU, plan local d'urbanisme. On peut imaginer former une nouvelle génération de PLU qui obligerait à passer tous les aménagements au crible de la mixité. Ensuite, on peut pratiquer le gender budget en interrogeant la part du budget public affecté aux femmes en termes d'équipements urbains. Et on mettrait ainsi en lumière les injustices financières et la reproduction des espaces publics androcentrés. Ensuite, troisième point, pour les conditions de mixité, le gender management, en appliquant le principe de parité à tous les niveaux décisionnels, au-delà des assemblées des élus, à tous les métiers qui font la ville. Aménagement, urbanisme, architecture, politique de l'habitat, d'équipement urbain. Quatrième possibilité, peut-être imaginer une commission de veille qui garantirait une meilleure justice spatiale et passerait au crible de l'équité toutes les études urbaines, sociales, culturelles, afin de vérifier si les femmes sont bien prises en compte autant que les hommes. Ce serait en fait, on en a parlé également tout à l'heure, un observatoire des inégalités de genre qui assurerait une veille active aux entorses à l'équité sociale, dont je rappelle que c'est le troisième pilier du développement durable. Enfin, on pourrait également reconsidérer l'espace des mixités. Mixité fonctionnelle, générationnelle, sociale et de genre, et croiser la mixité des âges et des genres pour mieux vivre ensemble de manière plus solidaire. C'est la coexistence résidentielle qui améliore l'attitude du care, du faire attention à l'autre. Lutter contre les annexions de territoire par des groupes sociaux dominants serait également très important, afin de renouer avec une ville récréative et ouverte à tous. Cela sous-entend la valorisation de tous les espaces publics réellement mixtes, en travaillant les aménagements, les ambiances de rue, les événements qui favorisent l'appropriation de l'espace pour tous, les fêtes, les animations de quartier, les concerts. Cela veut dire restaurer la place de l'homme qui marche dans la ville, l'homme avec un grand H, alors que le XXe siècle a quand même été surtout celui de la machine automobile. Avant-dernier item, on pourrait imaginer accompagner les femmes dans la réappropriation de l'espace public, créer des espaces intermédiaires entre la sphère privée et l'espace public, par l'univers associatif, le travail des centres sociaux, les ateliers socio-linguistiques, tout ce que nous développons à Bondy et que vous devez développer, je pense, aussi dans vos villes. Et bien sûr, ne pas finir sans dire le fort enjeu éducatif, la sensibilisation au code de bonne conduite dans la cité, la formation des enseignants à l'identification des stéréotypes de genre dans les usages de la ville. Soyez-en certains, bien plus qu'une confrontation ou qu'une opposition des hommes et des femmes, cette manière de concevoir la ville ne peut être que bénéfique à tous, hommes et femmes, pour y partager ensemble tous les plaisirs de la vie et d'y être heureux, d'y partager l'espace. Je vous remercie.
Merci beaucoup, Madame Thomasin. Donc, tout à l'heure, Monsieur Grégolo introduisait en rappelant que la question de la bonne appropriation de l'espace public, finalement, était un facteur important d'inclusion sociale. Et je dirais que Madame le maire vient de nous alerter sur le fait que l'espace public peut aussi être une barrière forte et en particulier une barrière des genres qu'il s'agit aujourd'hui d'essayer de démanteler avec la participation de tous. Donc peut-être notre troisième intervenant va continuer à alimenter ce débat que je sens de plus en plus riche. Donc Madame ASADI, qui je le rappelle est responsable du bureau des discriminations à Vienne en Autriche, et elle nous a proposé un petit support visuel.
Thank you very much. I started just. As a city planner, and I dealt with subject gender mainstreaming some 12 years ago, it was just for me fantastic to listen to your speech, Mrs. Thompson, because I mean 10 or 12 years ago, it was a vision to speak about gender mainstreaming and city planning. But nowadays, at least for us in Vienna, it's quite normal life, and we have gender budgeting, and we have, for the city of Vienna, procurement with gender aspects and everything. But thank you very much. It was very interesting. Coming from Vienna, I like to just introduce you a little bit of our actions in public spaces. As I mentioned, I'm coming from city planning, and then I'm just deputy head of the Anti-Discrimination office. And it's a pleasure to be here and share our experiences with you. The subject right to the city, we try to interpret it for us, or just to speak about it, what is really right to the city for us. It is, we came to this result that there is two most important points in this subject. Just not using the public spaces, but changing of them, and changing and just adapting of public spaces. It's also a very important right to the city. And of course, the public spaces, they are places that most of the, it reflects the whole atmosphere of the society. For a careful observer, if you go in a city, even if you don't know the city, if you really observe the public spaces, you have a feeling to the city, what's going on in the city and how is the atmosphere. So public spaces could be the place for peaceful life, but they could be critical arena also for fights and just social injustice in a city. But how is the situation in Vienna? Before I go to the public spaces in Vienna, I'd like to introduce you just very short some facts and data about Vienna. Vienna is a mid-sized city. It's not even 1.8 million population. And considering the structure of the population, we have almost 21% of the population that they are non-Austrians, or they don't have Austrian citizenship. And 2/3 of them, they come from 1/3 country and not non-European. So almost 1/3 of the population of Vienna, they are they have migration background, as I myself. And then if you consider the parents of the children that they are not were born in Vienna, we have almost 50% of our population, they have a migration background. So considering the surface, we have almost 50% of the population, just the surface of Vienna is green and blue, and the 50% is built-up area. And some of this area is very dense built-up area. So you can imagine the problems that we have in public spaces in these parts of the city. We have challenges. We have heard about these challenges, just it's maybe It's quite common for most of the cities. It's commercializing and privatization of the public spaces in the city. From one side, we really enjoy the pavement cafes or just restaurants or just commercial uses, parties in public spaces. And of course, a lot of firms like just thinking about the mobile telephone or just different consumption goods, they are presented in public spaces. So it's going from one side very commercialized, and from the other side it's colorful, it's beautiful, but it's very loud, and it limits the whole usage of the public spaces because it's not open enough for just individual users or for users of the residents of the city. But we have some objectives also in the city. It is our goal to make it possible for all citizens in the city of Vienna to use and to be able to use these areas. And of course, we know that we are conscious that the needs are completely different. We have different cultures, we have different generations and social gender in the city, and each group of residents, they have their own just imagination or their wishes or just their needs. And then we try to find a way to make it just usable for everybody. And the most important point for us, even if we speak about the security in the city or safety in the city, participation is a really good mean to for the people to just identify themselves with their environment and the city that they live. If it's their place, there is no violence, and if it's their place, there is no discrimination or so. Before I go to the public spaces, I'd like to introduce you one of our biggest projects, or just it was, as far as I heard, it was in European level, one of the largest participation project that we had. And we finished it just 10 days ago, and it took us more than 1 year of preparation. And then from the beginning of this year, from March on, we were working on this project, and nowadays it's more or less it's ready. And we are thinking about the implementation because it's a complicated project. So it was the subject, the Charter of Viennese, or Viennese Charter of Living Together. We started it in March, as I mentioned, and it was just people of the Vienna, they could bring their ideas in written form or just by telephone or internet or just personally. And it was a really grassroots process because we wanted to know what kind of ideas, I mean, the most important ideas of the Viennese concern of their future in the city. And then it was, we had just documents or the values of the society that they are not going to change. For example, equality of men or women, or just the right-wing parties and just activities in this area is forbidden, or just it was, we have legislative and we have just constitutional law for the city, because city of Vienna is not just a city, it's a province too, so it's easier for us to have this kind of legislative and just regulations, legal systems. And then we try to just have this process very bottom up. We didn't give the people the subjects, and just we told them, please bring up your ideas. And it was interesting, 3 main ideas came out from this process. The first idea was we want to have a respectful behavior in our city, respect, and respect not only just in just behaving in public spaces, but even in transportation means, or just in traffic at the street. And then we had the second subject was Vienna is a diverse city, but we want to have a common language, but we have many languages, and just multilingual society is a really just positive point for the society. But we want to speak in German, but anyhow we want to also learn different languages. And the third point was public spaces. And public spaces, it was very interesting, and just cleanliness of public spaces, and being able for usage for everybody in the city and just the whole population or citizens of the city. It was also, and it was quite a happy result for us, because actually people of the Vienna, they know really what they want. And just we, for the administration of the city, just we have to just, though we had a lot of experiences in all of these subjects, but just we had to really implement it in a way that people of Vienna, they are satisfied. So, public spaces, very important subject, and our citizens, they told us just they really care about this subject in the city. But we knew it, and since 4 or 5 years, City of Vienna, we started just a core team. We have almost 70 departments in our city administration, and then 20 departments, they are just somehow involved with the public spaces. And then city has 23 local municipalities or districts, and most of the just maintenance of public spaces, it's a very local duty of the mayors in local level. So we have to really cooperate, not from the city level, just for the local level with the local mayors too. And then we had experts and NGOs as representative of people, and these people, they came together, and we developed some kind of mission or mission statement, and then we work on just alongside of this statement and alongside of these guidelines. It's some kind of social, spatial analysis that we do before we start to planning. It's some analysis about the structure of the population over here, who lives here, what kind of behavioral patterns we just observed there, and just there is a interdisciplinary team. They have some research about this area, and they come to the result that okay, for the time being, what kind of usage this area had, or just this space has, and what kind of potentials they have for the future. So before we go to the planning, we are very careful, and actually we have it is a must. We have participation also, or just with the local people, and it allows us not only think about one space, because one space is not just a spot in the city, and the whole surrounding area is also very important to consider, and to we start a little bit from past. It takes time, but finally it is some kind, even it's cheaper if you spend money for such analysis, and if people really they are involved and they work with you and for the future. So just to summing up our statement mission, we have 2 approaches. We have strategic approaches, and we have organizational approaches. For the strategic approaches, Vienna is in a lucky position that Vienna grows, and we know that we are going to have more than 2 million population in the last years, maybe 10 or 12 years. So we have to have the provision for the public spaces because we have pressure for build-up areas and for housing and flats. But just if we are not careful, all of the public spaces, they will just turn to build-up area. And then second one is that we have to really careful with design of these public spaces, and because if just I showed you social and spatial analysis and participation process and everything, and just we really take into consideration, and we know that for the everybody's usage we have to manage this public spaces too. And then organizational approaches, we have, it's like any other cities, we have some conflicts of generations, conflicts of different cultures in public spaces, and we have a transparent and moderated process. We have moderation groups. They are especially in warmer seasons from April until October. They are in the city, and just if there is a conflict, they really they intervene and they take care of the conflicts. And we have fair play teams. They are mixed teams from different culture, languages, and social workers and just experts with children they work, and then they are in parks, and they try to again just take it, and it's more or less like park consulting that we have also. And we have the multi-usage. We have sometimes potentials, for example, in schoolyards, or if there's a building, it's going to be demolished. So we use this building for temporary usage, and again with just people, they are experts, and we work on it. So I showed you just a very brief actions that we've done in the just in our public spaces, and it's for us, it's some kind of just recognition, because since 4 years Vienna is the city with highest quality of life in Europe, and then this year we were very pleased and we were delighted to just hear that from United Nations the ranking of the city of Vienna is the I mean, it's the highest city with the quality of life in the world. So just some steps that we've done in the last years, some of them not very easy steps, but I mean, it's quite happy for us to have these results. Thank you very much.
Merci beaucoup, Madame Assadi. Donc, on me signalait qu'on a pris un petit peu de retard. Donc, je vais passer la parole à Monsieur Samb et ensuite à Monsieur Mersol. J'espère qu'on réussira à avoir un peu de temps pour le débat. Donc on s'en donne jusqu'à 4h moins le quart. Il est 15h10. Si on pouvait se réserver une vingtaine de minutes de débat, donc respecter le 10 minutes de temps de parole, ce serait formidable. Merci beaucoup.
Merci. Je suis Abass SAMB, adjoint au maire Hann BEL. Je donne notre contribution sur le thème les espaces publics urbains, espaces ségrégés, partagés, espaces sexués de mixité. Je donne l'exemple du projet d'aménagement et de viabilisation du Grand Lac de Mariste. Monsieur le Président de la communauté d'agglomération Pleine Commune, Mesdames, Messieurs les maires, distingués invités, Mesdames, Messieurs, nous voilà tous réunis cet après-midi avec la joie d'échanger à l'occasion de la première rencontre mondiale des pouvoirs locaux pour le droit à la ville. Qu'il me soit tout d'abord permis de remercier sincèrement M. Patrick Bruezek, président de la communauté d'agglomération Pleine Commune, qui a bien voulu m'inviter à cette manifestation, mais aussi Mme Eva Garcia et Mme Karine Buchal. À tous, je vous apporte le salut fraternel du Sénégal. Hann BEL, une des 19 communes d'arrondissement